What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. We're seeing more properties like this being built in front of a house that's going to be torn down soon.
I understand that there are power lines that are just kind of close.
What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg, and that there is a commercial real estate building.
I'm joined today with Aharon Goins. How you doing today, Aaron?
Hey man, how you doing, Dan? It's good to see you, man.
It's really good to see you. I always enjoy meeting up with you and chewing the fat. But for those of you in the audience who've never seen a Chance Encounter before, what I do is I interview commercial real estate investors. And then what I do is I go through the 5 different motivations that I found people have for wanting to get their next commercial property. And I say, which one's you? Then I go through my Dan Does Deals die, which you should be able to download somewhere. I should put that on Dan Does Deals so you can get your own die and explain this to your friends and family. But I go through these 6 different roles, and I say which one's your core competency that you're most likely to contribute to your next deal. But Aharon, can you please introduce yourself for the audience so they know who you are?
Well, I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I served 16 years in the military, and then I got a W-2 job. But I got an entrepreneurial spirit a couple of years ago, and got into real estate 2 years ago, and love it ever since. And love commercial multifamily real estate, and that's what I want to do.
And you got some meetups and different things like that. You can go ahead and plug them right now if you want.
Yeah, so I have a meetup. It's called All In on Real Estate. It's every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I interview people of different niches in real estate, because real estate has so many niches, and I want people to learn so they can build generational wealth for them and their families. And then also I have a clubhouse room every Wednesday at 5:30. It's called the Military Real Estate Investing Hour. We answer all and every question about real estate, but you don't have to be a military or veteran to be in my clubhouse room. You can be a civilian, but we just want to help people out. When I was in the military, no one in my circles talked about real estate. A lot of times they talk about debt and other things like that. And I want to have a platform where people can learn and like I said, build generational wealth for them and their families.
All right, that's a beautiful thing. So let's go to the motivation piece, which means I turn around here and I click on this, and then I click on that, and then ta-da, there it is. So I go through the motivation piece because sometimes I end up interviewing beginners here, and beginners know what their motivation is, but they don't know what they're going to do in the deal. So let's go through those first. The 5 different motivations are: first, preserving your purchasing power. So that means if you already use your wealth and live off of the cash flow from it, then your biggest concern is you need to make more acquisitions so that inflation doesn't wear away from your nest egg. So that's the first motivation. The second one is my one, which is trading time for wealth. I've got a background in tech. They make good salary, high wages, all that sort of stuff. And then you end up having to pay the highest amount of tax out there, which is income tax. So it makes a lot more sense for a guy like me to pivot my skills towards becoming a GP on these different teams. So that way I'm trading for equity. And then that way I'm in a much better situation from a tax perspective compared to making a bunch, paying a bunch in tax, and then shooing away what's left into the assets. So that's what I'm up to. The next reason is the most common one. People want to fast track their retirement. Okay. There are 2 things that are implied when you say that you want to fast track your retirement. One of them is that, like, if you're in your early 20s or something, you're not fast tracking your retirement. The world's too crazy of a place to do anything like that reliably. But the bigger thing is that there's an end in mind. Okay. Like, it means that you basically one day want to be living on a beach or something. You don't want to be hustling your entire life. And that's in contrast to the next group. They're so ambitious. They want to buy their entire hometown. They're looking for generational wealth, skyscrapers, yachts, whatever. They're going to be hustling for their entire lives. And that's a very handy person to have in your group for your GPs. But the last motivation is some people have a sector of society. Maybe it's veterans, maybe maybe it's animals, maybe it's the environment, but they realize that accumulating wealth is by far the most effective cost-effective vehicle to make a real impact on society. So that's why they're making these additional acquisitions to make it all work. So those are the 5 different motivations, and that one's to help people. So out of those 5, I know you've already mentioned a couple, but just to recap, which of those, what combination of them best describes your motivations, Aaron?
It's really to I mean, of course we want to do the retirement. You know, you want to retire from your W-2. That doesn't mean I want to retire from everything, but I want to retire from a W-2 and do my real estate business full time. And also, I think, Dan, for me, it's always about trying to help the next man up, because there's opportunities that I did not know of or wasn't educated about that I want others to know now. So that's my 2 motivational factors. And also, I mean, I'm a man of God, so I always want to help out and pass and get the word out as well.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And, you know, I come from a similar background in the sense that, like, you know, if you walk up to a big apartment complex and you say, hey, I want to buy that thing, you know, like all of my friends would be like, well, what are you smoking? There's how is a regular person supposed to do that? But of course, there's a way to do that. And going through the Dan Does Deals Die will give you a pretty good idea how that works. So for those of you in the audience who don't have any commercial real estate experience, this will at least help you be able to communicate effectively on these different subjects. And so if you're working with somebody like me or Aaron or whatever it is, then at least you can say, it's like, oh, well, you do this. And so this is what your core competency is. So let's go through those. So first one's the repositioner. A repositioner looks at a bunch of different properties and they do something called underwriting, which is a fancy word for doing the math. You just basically go through, you find out, is the business actually making as much as they say it is? Is it worth as much as they say it is? And does the business actually make sense? But the other thing that they're up to is they're looking for upside, okay? And the 2 ways that a repositioner can get upside, one is through more efficient operations. You stop those Benjamins from going down the toilet, you cut those expenses, that increases the valuation. It also means that the cash flow is higher. There's more to operations than just unclogging toilets and collecting rent and all that kind of stuff. There's also the leasing agent side, which is a marketing piece, which is one of my features, but that means that the vacancy rate stays low, but you can also automate, and so that way, you know, your inventory for repairs are all fixed up and all that. But those are efficient operations. And right now, real estate is hot. So that's probably not going to be enough upside in most deals. So the repositioner then goes to a contracting team and fixes the place up. And they make the place nicer so they can charge more rent. Boom, there's their upside. But I have a problem with what I've said so far, which is I'm from the internet, okay? So I'm not going to be able to check up on the property very easily. So I'm going to need a local. I'm going to need boots on the ground to make sure that the operations aren't cutting corners, the contractors aren't cutting corners, they're staying the schedule, all that kind of stuff. And normally when somebody thinks of the people who own an apartment complex or a commercial property, that's who they think of. But of course, there's more to it. There's the money part. There's the financiers, the capital raisers, the banks, okay? And if a repositioner wants to buy a building that's worth tens of millions of dollars, then they're probably going to have to borrow tens of millions of dollars. And the question that the financier is going to ask that we haven't addressed yet is, who is your sponsor? Who's the KP? And a KP is somebody who already owns a similar asset, because even if you're Elon Musk, if you want to buy like a 350 unit apartment complex or something like that, if you want to get a loan, you have to have somebody in the fold who already owns a similar asset, or else you're not going to be eligible for the loan. So the other restrictions, you also have to have some liquidity in there, and then you also have to have a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan. But those 6 pieces, put them all together, boom, you've got a commercial property deal. So out of those, Aaron, what are your core competencies that you're most likely to bring to your next deal?
I'm a financier. I looking forward, always trying to raise capital for deals.
All right, awesome. And then as far as deal flows, you're connecting with enough people to have deals in hand and bring to your group of investors. That's Absolutely. What you're up to. All right,
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then as far as that goes, there's something I like to call a buy box, which is another way of calling it is your ideal property. So for every investor, there's some details that make it much easier to say yes, or at least it makes it much more difficult to say no. So Aaron, as far as like unit counts, geographic areas, you know, and class, what's your ideal property that's perfect for you to bring to you?
I would say a B class in the Southeast, 100 plus units at least.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
but Dan, it could be self storage.
Hmm.
Or maybe a marina as well. So I'm trying to be I'm a little more diverse, not just apartments, but I'm looking at self storage as well and marinas.
Right. And so capital raisers, then there usually has to be a certain amount of meat on the bone for that to really make sense to them and their investors. So like,
Absolutely.
is it like million plus, or like, do you have any numbers you can throw out there as far as like where it's easier for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I want to raise at least a million plus. Eventually I want to go into bigger deals. I'm talking about, you know, 600 units and things like that higher. So, but right now, you got to start small to go big. And my whole thing is, maybe doing $500,000 raise, $1 million raise, and get more comfortable. Get my feet wet. Maybe do a fund later on, but right now it's just getting a couple deals right now for me.
Awesome, awesome. And one of my favorite things about hanging out with you is you're so generous with your time. You're so helpful, and that's very, consistent. A lot of people in commercial real estate, they are very helpful because nobody is all the sides of the die at once. But as far as who should reach out to you, who you can help more than anybody else, and don't break any SEC restrictions so you can't entice investors. But who can you help more than anybody else in commercial real estate? As far as who's best to reach out to you?
Family offices, accredited investors, or my target audience has always been military people who want to learn more about real estate. I'm always here to help. Like I said, when I was in the military, I didn't have that help. No one in my circle talked about it, and I'm always here to educate. So, if you're interested in wanting to invest into, large multifamily real estate, please contact me at Aharon Goins .com. I'm sorry, Aharon.goins@gmail.com, or go to my website, ALLINHS.com. That's my website. It's All In Homes. That's my company's name, All In Homes. So go to the website and check it out. And I'm trying to always educate people and make a decision from there. Because you just never know. One decision, one investment could change your life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Opportunity too. You got to look at it as opportunities, not, to invest in somebody. There's an opportunity. Like you said, Dan, when we was growing up, we didn't know how to buy apartments, but now it's opportunities to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's really awesome. And so you covered how to reach out to you. So I only have one more thing, which is for you in the camera right there, which is if you look under my hand, you'll see a red button, and it makes me so sad. It's an angry button. It says subscribe on it. And the only way to make it not angry and not make me sad is by clicking on it, because then it turns gray. And what that means is that YouTube pays for these videos instead of me. Okay, so that's all that does. It doesn't cost you anything on YouTube to hit the subscribe button, and it just means that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions. There's no guarantee for that, but you've already done me a huge favor just by subscribing, so pretty please do that. Just like Aaron, you've done me a huge favor by showing up here on this Chance Encounters. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
All right, awesome.